Right, good morning class. So today we're looking at probably the last video dealing with your straight line graphs. We have done 2 videos prior to this, 2 or 3 videos. And we got up until worksheet 15. F, we did F, G. Have we completed 15G? No. Where are we at 15G now? Which question? Number 3. Okay, so at this point I'm going to go a bit faster through it because there's quite a bit I wanted to conclude in this video. And this is the last lesson, the second last lesson before you write your final exam. You're going to exam mode from tomorrow onwards, okay? So, let's open the curtains here. Go here, just open. Alright, so we are told that the diagram shows the graphs of y equals negative x minus 1. So which graph would this be? What do we know about that graph? Firstly, it has a negative gradient, so the graph is decreasing. And it has a negative y-intercept here, which explains this would be that graph. Now, so the other one, y is equal to 2x plus 5. This has a positive gradient, the graph is increasing, and has a positive y-intercept of 5. Okay. Then we are told that OK is equal to 1 unit. So if OK is 1, the x value here is 1. So the k value coordinate is 1 and 0. You all okay with that? Not okay with that, but you're fine with it. No? Determine the length of PK. So PK is from there to there. But PK is also your y coordinate on that line, given that the x coordinate is 1. Not so? You guys confused there now? Let's go again. They want to know the value of the length of PK. But PK is also the y value of the coordinate of P. Why? Because the y value for the coordinate of K is what? The y value for the coordinate of K. Just wrote it down right now. It's 0. Not so? So if I get the corresponding y value for P, that would be the length of PK. You guys understand? So what is your x value at P? It's 1. Not so? Why? Because from OK is going to be 1 unit. So the x value anyway on the line PQ is 1. Right? So even if you go with Q, and I'm sure they're going to ask you about Q later on, it's going to be 1 and something. What is the equation of this line going through here? X is equal to 1. Yes. Does it now make sense why it should be 1? Because anywhere along that graph x is equal to 1. Along that line x is 1. Okay? So what do I do is I substitute 1 into this line here. So that line's equation. And I already indicated that that line's equation is y is equal to 2x plus 5. So we're going to substitute x is equal to 1 into y is equal to 2x plus 5. Remember, if I put the x in, I get the y out. So we have y equals 2 times 1 plus 5, which is 7. So the coordinates of P is 1 and 7. Have I answered the question? No. Therefore, the length of PK would be 7 units. You guys understand? From 7 to 0 is how many units? 7 units. Okay? In 3.2, in question 3.2, they asked to work out PQ. So if you look at where PQ is, Q sorry, KQ. Q is a point on the equation y is equal to negative x minus 1. How do we know that? We said that the graph is decreasing and has a negative y-intercept. Okay? It would have made it easier if they had named the graphs for us. Not so? But they didn't, so we have to figure it out. So, what we do is we're going to substitute x is equal to 1 into y equals negative x minus 1. Okay? So you then get y equals negative 1 minus 1, which is negative 2. So what's the coordinates of Q? 1 and negative. Does it make sense for that to be negative? Yes, 1. That's the negative part of your y-axis. Can you see that? So the negative part of your y-axis. And here that is negative 1. So it has to be less than negative 1, which is then the negative 2. Okay? But have I answered the question? No. Therefore, the length of QK or KQ would be? What do you think the length for KQ would be? Would it be negative 2 or 2? 2. Why 2? Because length is never negative. You guys understand? Or we could have done a calculation here if you really were into the calculations part of it. You can say, okay, PK can be the top point, which is 7, minus the bottom point, which is 0, which is 7. Here, QK is going to be the top point, which is 0, minus the bottom point, which is negative 2, which is 2. You see that? The same line. Okay. We're going to 3.3. They want to know the length of PQ, which is the whole length here. So PQ, what would that length be? 7 plus 2, which is 9. Otherwise, if we have applied what we just did here now, we go from there to there. We could have said PQ is going to be 7, the top point minus the bottom point, which is negative 2, which is 7 minus 2, 7 plus 2, which is 9 units. Right, either way will get you the mark. Yes?
Sorry sir, Mr. Sir, you saying us around to check if your clock's working. Or do you have a clock?
No clock yet. That's not exam venue.
Oh.
No problem. Okay. But you guys understand? You all okay with this? Right. So, let's carry on. Question 4. Okay, this is an even number, but I'm going to do it anyway because this is the way it's asked in the exam. Okay, so you must familiarize yourself with the way these questions are asked. Okay? So we are told y is equal to 2x minus 4 and y is equal to minus x. The first question says determine the coordinates of A and B. So if you look at A and B, what do you notice about A and B? What is A? Your x-intercept of the line y is equal to 2x minus 4. And B is the y-intercept of that same line. So how do you calculate your x-intercept? We let y equal to 0. Not so. So 0 is equal to 2x minus 4. You bring that over, becomes negative 2x equal to negative 4. Divide by negative 2 both sides. So x is equal to 2. Have I answered the question? Have I answered the question, people? No. What is the question? Let's calculate the coordinates of B. Therefore, B is going to be, A is going to be 2 and 0. How do you calculate B? Y-intercept. What do you do for y-intercept? Let x equal to 0. So y equals 2 times 0 minus 4, which is negative 4. Therefore, B is 0 and negative 4. Okay? Remember, if they ask you for the coordinates, it must be given in coordinate form. This is coordinate form. Coordinates consist of, namely, an x and a y. That's coordinates. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, okay, before I even take it off, I'll do the next one. 4.2. Also, what you notice that when I calculate something on a diagram like this, I keep on populating the diagram. I keep on writing the coordinates in it. Okay? Why? So that at one glance we can see exactly what we've calculated on this graph. Okay? 4.2. Determine the length of CD. CD. So CD is this length here. So in other words, if I know the y value of coordinate D, I would then know what the length of CD is. Not so. Why? Because of the y value is this length here. Can you see that? It is parallel to your y-axis. So CD is actually a y value. Okay. So remember what they say? The length of CD, if OC is 1 unit. So OC from O to C is 1 unit. So what is the x value here? What's the x value? What is the coordinates of C? 0 and negative 1? Or? Can't be 0 and negative. What is your x value here? What's your x value? Negative 1. And what's your y value? 0. Not so. So you see this line is perpendicular to the x-axis. So what is your x value at D? Negative 1. And your y value is what you're going to calculate now. Can you see that? Is that y value going to be positive or negative? Negative y, negative part of your y-axis. And definitely a value less than? A value less than what? Negative 4. Can you see that? There should be a value. Just according to the graph. It's a value less than negative 4. So what do I do? I substitute negative 1 into this equation of that straight line.
Sorry, sir.
Okay.
Mrs.
This
Kadak.
is the second time.
Mrs. Kadak, so McKinsey must go to the computer room.
Yeah, you're a machine maths. Okay, so remember when we put the x in, we're going to get the corresponding y value. Not so. So if I see an x on this line here now, okay, I'm going to substitute it into that value there. So let's go. We say well, we're going to substitute. X is equal to negative 1 into y equals 2x minus 4. So, let's check maybe it's cut off. Yes, it is. Okay. So we say y equals 2 times negative 1 minus 4, which is negative 6. So the y value is negative 6. But I never answered the question. What is the question? They want to know the length of CD. Therefore, CD is equal to how many units? 6 units. Not so. Or we can say 0. Which is that 0? Minus 6. The top minus the bottom. Okay, which is 6 units. Some I guess worth probably 2 or 3 marks. 3 marks. Okay. So know these things, people. Okay. The next question, 4.3. So I need to take this off. In 4.3 we are asked to determine the coordinates of point E. So what is point E to us? We spoke about in yesterday's lesson. That is the point of intersection. How do you work out the points of intersection? How do you work out the points of intersection? We see the two graphs. We see the two graphs equal to each other. Okay? For the points of intersection, we see the two graphs equal to each other. So we're going to perform simultaneous equations there. Why? Because at that point of E, the one graph is exactly equal to the other graph. That is the reason why I'm doing points of intersection. The graphs are equal at that point. So the one graph being y is equal to 2x minus 4, and the other one is y is equal to minus x. Remember what did I show you yesterday? If A is equal to B and A is equal to C, then we can conclude therefore B is equal to C. Not so? So if y is equal to 2x minus 4 and y is equal to negative x, then what can we conclude? Therefore 2x minus 4 is equal to negative x. You see that, people? X is one side, numbers the other side. So we take it over. And that on that side, so it becomes 2x plus x. It becomes an equation equals 4. 2x plus x, 3x, divided by 3. So x equal to 4 over 3, or 1 and a third, or 1,3 recurring. It's all the same. Okay? Doesn't make sense. Look here, here's 0. There's 2. Is 4 over 3 between 0 and 2? Yes. Not exactly between, but it lies within. It makes sense. So, the next question says, oops. No, the coordinates. So, we got the x coordinate is 4 over 3, and to calculate the corresponding y value, you're going to substitute this either into the first one or the second one. It's going to be easier to go into the second one. Okay, so therefore, y is equal to negative 4 over 3, which is negative 4 over 3. Therefore, the coordinates of E is 4 over 3 and negative 4 over 3. If you had substituted that into that equation there, you should have gotten the same answer, okay? I'll show you. You got y is equal to 2 into 4 over 3 minus 4. So that would give us 8 over 3 minus 4, which is 12 over 3. 8 minus 12 over 3 is negative 4 over 3, which is that point. Can you see that? So, do we have to substitute into both? No. We just substitute into one of the two. As long as your x value is correct, your y value will be the same. Okay? You guys understand? Any confusion? No. The next question is worksheet 15, number 1. Worksheet 15, number 1. This one, so. Worksheet 15H, number 1. The question says determine the gradient of the line between the following points. That is simple. I'm just going to do number 1.1. Okay, so how do we calculate the gradient? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If I make this x1, that will be y1, x2, y2. So it's going to be 6 minus minus 4 over 2 minus 3. It's going to give you 10 over negative 1, which is negative 10. Okay? The gradient of this line will be half. Okay? Same story. Number 2. In number 2, worksheet 15H number 2. Must write that in standard form. This is simple. Make y the subject of the formula. We take it over. So negative y is equal to x minus 2 divided by negative. So it's negative x plus 2. What paper you guys writing tomorrow? Paper 1. No? They saw in the staff room something about paper 2. You're writing paper 1. You got the scope of paper 1?
Yes, sir.
People, if you make that in standard form, it would simply be y equals 4 over 3x minus 2. For those of you who did the homework, any issues there? No? 3.1. Complete the table. That's simple. We substitute negative 2 into there, I get negative 1. 0, I get 0. 2, I get 1. Half times 4, I get 2. Plot the points of Cartesian plane and join the points forming a straight line. So that would give us minus 1, minus 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably not been cut off thing. The last one has been cut off. Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you in minus 1, 0, 1, 2. So if we plot, this becomes a coordinate of negative 2 and negative 1. Negative 2, negative 1, which is there. Then 0 and 0, the origin. 2 and 1. 4 and 2. Okay, and we just take a ruler. We draw a straight line. That is using the table method. Okay. Then the next question. I ask you to sketch the graph table method. That shouldn't be a problem. Use the same table as you had in the previous one. Or, yeah, you can use the same table. It will be okay. The graph will do something like that thing. The decreasing function is going through the origin. If x is 1, y is minus 10. But of course, you can first draw the table, no? Which you guys did. It should look something like that. Number 5, they ask you to sketch the following graphs using the intercept method. Do we need to write this in standard form? No, we don't. Okay. So for 5.1, we have x minus y equals 5. We say x intercept. What do you do for x intercept? Get y equal to 0. So we got x minus 0 equals 5, so x equal to 5. Y intercept, what do you do for y intercept? Let x equal to 0. So 0 minus y equals 5. Divide by negative 1 both sides. Y is equal to negative 5. So that's enough information to draw the graph. Not so? So by approximation x is 5 there. Okay? And your y is negative 5. So the graph will come through like that. Okay. Then, for this one here, I'm not going to do the calculation, but x-intercept will be at 10, and your y-intercept will be at 2. So the graph is going to look like that. Any problems there? Of course, that's your y and your x and your 0 there. Alright, let's carry on. 5i test 2. Sketch the graph of, again, how do we sketch the graph? Y-intercept. What do you do for y-intercept? Let x equal to 0. So y is equal to a third times 0 minus 1, which is negative. Okay? X-intercept. What do you do for x-intercept? Let y equal to 0. So 0 is equal to a third x minus 1. We take it over the equal sign is negative. A third x equal to negative 1. Divide by negative a third both sides. So x equal to 3. Enough information to draw the graph. You got your y and your x there. X is approximately 3 there. Y is negative 1. Again, draw the graph. Okay, you all agree with that? 3 is there. That is where 3 is. Where it cuts the x-axis. Where it cuts the y-axis. Negative 1. Okay. Number 2, it says, determine the value of the variables of the following point lines of the graph. Right. So the graph in 1 is y is equal to negative, y is equal to, somebody just give it to me. Y is equal to a third x minus 1. Huh? Is it negative a third? Yeah, that's good. So how do we get to calculate the value of k? We'll substitute, this is for number 1, 3 and k into y is equal to a third x minus 1. Not so. This is a x and a y. So we've got k is equal to 1 over 3 times 3 minus 1. 1 over 3 times 3 is 1, minus 1 is 0. You guys understand? Right, if we do for 2.2, 2.2, your p-value works out to be negative 3. Again, you do the same, but that's your x and your y. Okay? So your p-value there is negative 3. Any issues there? No? Number 3. Determine whether the following points lie on the graph in 1. So again, the graph in 1's equation is y is equal to a third x minus 1. So if we substitute the x in, we should get the y out. Not so. So if I substitute x is equal to 3 into that equation, and y works out to be 0, that means to say it lies on the graph. If you get any value other than the y value of 0, then it does not lie on the graph. You guys understand? So you say y is equal to 1 over 3 times 3 minus 1. 1 over 3 times 3 is 1, minus 1 is 0. So does it lie in the graph? Yes. Therefore, 3 and 0 lies on the graph of y is equal to 1 over 3x minus 1. We do the next point. This one also lies on the graph, okay? So when you substitute negative 1 into that equation, you get y is equal to a third times negative 1 minus 1, you get negative 4 over 3, which is negative 1 and 1 over 3. So yes, that one also lies on the graph. Any issues there? No. In question 15J, worksheet 15J, test 3, determine the gradient and the y-intercept. Again, what do I do there? I must get it in standard form. So I get 2y equals 3x plus 6. Divided by 2. So I get y is equal to 3 over 2x plus 3. So what is the gradient of this graph? Therefore the gradient is going to be 3 over 2 and your y-intercept. Your y-intercept is 3. Or if they had asked you for the coordinates of the y-intercept, it will be 0 and 3. But this wasn't asked for, so that is suffice at this point. Question 2, the gradient of that line, that shouldn't be an issue. The gradient of that line works out to be what? The gradient? Negative 9 over 4. Okay? I'm sure that isn't the issue there. Let's go for number 3. Sketch the following graph where x is an element of real numbers. If it's x an element of the real numbers, it's all the values that exist to us. Not so. Sorry, ma'am, doesn't make any sense. Yes, boss? Okay. Thank you. Alright, so it's all the values that exist to us. Okay. So this is ask you to draw the table method. I'll show you now how to draw the table method. You choose a few values with the x and y. 0 minus 1 minus and 1. You could have put 2 and minus 2 in as well. So that's going to give us negative 2, 0, 2 and 4. We draw, there's negative 1, negative 2, 0, 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1, 2, 1 is 2, and 2 is 4. So the graph is going to go through that. Right? 3.2, you're going to use a table. You see here, 2.2 is not specified, so you can use anything. If they say table method, you must use table method, otherwise you have a choice. Okay, 3.3, this here, and I draw in 3.3, you have y is equal to 5. So this is your y-intercept here, your x, that is 5 then, so that would be that graph going through. y is equal to 5. This line will be parallel to your x-axis. Can you see that? 3.4. X is equal to -2 or -2. So -2 is about the other side of the x-axis. And so by approximation, this line will go through like that, through that point. Okay? And that will be x is equal to -2. This will be parallel to your y-axis, or it will be perpendicular to the x. Okay? As we know, that line is also perpendicular. 3.5, the intercept method. What does intercept method mean? X intercepted y equal to 0, y intercepted x equal to 0. So you got 2y minus x equal to 6. X intercept, what do you do for x intercept? Get y equal to 0. So you got 2 times 0 minus x equals 6. Get drop. Negative x equal to 6, so x equal to -6. Y intercept, what do you do for y intercept? Get x equal to 0, not so. So we have 2y minus 0 equals 6. So 2y is equal to 6, so I divide it by 2. So y is equal to 3. And that's enough information to draw the graph. Here's your y and your x. X is -6 approximately there. And y is 3, which is half of that. And that is on your positive part of your y-axis. Okay, so again, we draw a line going through there. Okay, and there's the equation that it 3.6. The intercept method, I'm sure you shouldn't have a problem with that. 3.6. Which worksheet is this? J. J. 3.6 J. By calculation, you should get the 1 there and -3/4, and there's that line right there. Okay. Now in question 4, they ask you to give the equation of the y-axis. Who can tell me what's the equation of the y-axis? What's the equation of this line here? What's the equation of that line? Sorry? What's the equation of that line? What is the equation of this line? X equal to 1. What's the equation of this line if that was cutting at 5? X equal to 5. What is the equation if that line is cutting at -2? X is -2. So what is the equation of that line then? X equal to 0. What's the equation of your x-intercept? Y is equal to 0. Okay? Determine the gradient of the line parallel to. People, if lines are parallel, what do we know? Gradients are equal. So the gradient of this line is going to be of. Okay. Number 7. Determine the value. Okay, so for number 6 first, you must get this in standard form. Now you must make y the subject of the formula. Okay. Determine the value of the variable if the point A and 5 lies on the graph. If you put the input in, you'll get the output out. Not so. If you put the output in, you get the input out. Okay. So, if you substitute the x in, you should get the y out. That's what this is like a function. So, your x is a, your y is 5. So, you're going to substitute a and 5 into y equals 2x plus 1. Okay. So as we see, the x is a and y is 5. So here's a y here. So I say 5 is equal to 2 times a plus 1. So now this is a matter of solving the equation. You take 1 over the equal sign. So it's 5 minus 1 is equal to 2a. So a is equal to 5 minus 1 is 4 divided by 2x. Okay. The next one, determine whether the points lies on the graph. How do we do that? We sub negative 2 into wherever we see x. You get an answer of 2. Negative 2 is negative 1 plus, it gives you an answer of 1, which is 1. So therefore it lies on that graph there. The next one, we are told, determine the equation of the perpendicular. So if lines are perpendicular, what do we know? Product of the two gradients is negative 1. So what is the gradient of the first line? Gradient of the first line is negative half times the gradient of the second is equal to minus 1. So the gradient of the second line is equal to 2. So what's the equation of this line? Y is equal to 2x plus c. But what is your c value? Is this a y-intercept or not? Yes. Why is it a y-intercept? Because the x value is 0. So therefore your c value is going to be minus 5. So y is equal to 2x minus 5. However, if it came to the point that you didn't know what to do there, you just substitute. You substitute 0 and minus 5 into y equals 2x plus c. That's an x and a y. Sorry? Okay, Kiara. So you get y to be minus 5 again. Okay? But if you know that c is your y-intercept, and you know when to find the y-intercept, it is fine. If you're not sure, you always do that method I got from the side. Okay? So that is simple. People number 10, the equation of the line parallel to the x-axis. Okay, this one I'm going to do again. I've done one like this yesterday as well. It's parallel to the x-axis and passing through negative 3 and 5. So if it's parallel to this line here, it's parallel to the x-axis. It's going that way. Not so. So what's the equation of that line? Parallel to, who can tell what's the equation of this line, people? Y is equal to 5. That brings us to 15J. In 15J, I'm not going to do the whole worksheet. I'm just going to look at 2 sums out of this worksheet to wrap this up, okay? So the question says, the equation of AB is y equals negative x plus 5. Determine the length of OB, OA and AB. So if you look at this here, what is A to us? What is A? A is the y-intercept. What do you do for y-intercept? We let x equal to 0. So y is equal to 0 plus 5, which is 5. So that coordinate of A is 0 and 5. But I haven't answered the question. What is the length of OA? What is the length of OA? 5 units. Not so? Look at B. What is B to us? X-intercept. What do we do for x-intercept? Then y equal to 0. So 0. You see, it's the same thing that gets applied over and over and over again. Okay, just the way they ask the question, it changes. But the same calculations we're doing over, getting it in standard form, working out the y-intercept, calculating the x-intercept, determining the equation of, it's the same thing. It's being asked all the time. That's why I'm convinced you guys are going to do well in this part of the work. No? So x is equal to 5. So what's the coordinates of B? 5 and 0. But what's the length of OB? 5 units. Not so? So I got OA, I got OB. Now they want AB. How do you think you're going to calculate AB? How are you going to calculate AB? Remember, this is 90 degrees then, not so? So in other words, we have a triangle looking like this. It's O, A, B. 5, 5. How are you going to calculate AB? Pythagoras. So the Pythagorean theorem says the hypotenuse squared is equal to sum of the other two sides squared. Can only be done in right angle triangle. It's not so in any right angle triangle. So AB squared is equal to 5 squared plus 5 squared, which is 50. 25 plus 25 is 50. The square root thereof is going to be the square root of 50 or 5 root 2. Or you can put it in its decimal equivalent. So the square root of 50, 5 root 2 or 7,07. Alright, units. The last question for number 15J, test 3. This was also a nice question. That's why I need to please that. You know, again, you guys are going to argue, but all questions are nice. No, you don't think so. Okay. So, I know you. Right, 15J, number 15. Sketch if, what did we say yesterday? What is if? Functional notation. Okay. If is denoted to y is equal to negative a third over x plus 1. So this has a negative gradient, so this graph is decreasing, has a y-intercept of 1. So this is definitely f of x. Did you see that? Again, the graph is decreasing, negative gradient, and has a positive y-intercept. So if it's decreasing, it's going down. There's a negative gradient, it's lying to the left. And the y-intercept clearly there is positive. You understand? Right. So that is going to be f of x graph. And then of course this has to be the g of x graph. It is increasing and has a negative gradient. I mean a negative y-intercept. The question says determine the length of OA. So OA is what people? A is your x-intercept of both graphs. So I can use any one of them. So how do I work out your x-intercept? Let y equal to 0. So we say then we're going to use the g of x. So 0 is equal to x minus 3. So x is equal to 3. So the coordinates of A is going to be 3 and 0. But they ever answer the question? No. What's the coordinates of OA? Therefore OA is going to be 3 units. Okay. Then OC. So what is C to us? C is your y-intercept of f. So can I use g here? No, I can only use f. The reason why I could have used f or g there, because both are intersecting at that point. The two graphs are equal to each other. It is the x-intercept of both graphs. Okay. So 15.2. See the see the one CD, I do the one CO or OC. So I'm going to first work out the coordinates of C. Then I work out the coordinates of D. Then I subtract the two lengths. Okay? So this is for C. This is your y-intercept. What do you do for y-intercept? We let x equal to 0. Okay? And this is on F. No? So y equals negative a third times 0 plus 1, which is 1. So the coordinates of C is 0 and 1. For D, the coordinates of D, it's your y-intercept. What do you do for y-intercept? Let x equal to 0. Y-intercept, let x equal to 0. So you say y is equal to 0 minus 3, which is negative 3. So D is 0 and negative 3. So what is the length of CD? Therefore CD is going to be the top is 1 minus the bottom, which is minus 3. Which is then 1 plus 3, which is 4 units. 4 units. Okay? Any confusion there? All okay with that? And then the last question, we are asked PK if OK is equal to 6. So PK if OK is 6. So what happens is, if OK is 6, what is your X value here? What's the X value there? 6 units. Not so. So what's the coordinates of K? 6 and 0. What's the coordinates of P? 6 and some Y value. What's the coordinate of Q? 6 and some Y value. How do you calculate the corresponding Y value? You'll substitute P, which is 6 and Y, into, since that is lying, P is lying on the graph of G, I can only substitute it into G of X, or the graph G. Okay? So to get the corresponding Y value, I then say Y is equal to, here's your G of X, which is 6 minus 3, which is 3. So this coordinate is 6 and 3. Okay? Then we will substitute Q, which is 6 and some Y value, into F of X, or the F graph. Why into the F? Because Q lies on F. You see that? So now we say Y equals, that is your F graph, negative a third times 6 plus 1. Negative third times 6 is negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. Okay, we can test that. See in case I'm wrong. It's negative a third times 6 plus 1. It's negative 1. So the coordinates of Q is going to be 6 and negative 1. So what is the length of PQ then? It's going to be therefore PQ is going to be the top graph, which is 3 minus negative 1, which is 3 plus 1, which is 4 units. You'll see that that length should have been about the same. But since the graph is not drawn to scale, that is why it's a bit lopsided. Any confusion here, people? Right. See you guys later. And this brings us to the end of worksheet 15. Okay. This concludes the graphs. In our next lesson, we're just going to wrap up that one paper that we had. Okay. See you guys later.